Hey guys, it's Teo here. Today we are doing a speed cast, which means we take a high level replay and cast it at a 1.5 times speed. I like to do more of an analysis cast, so it's going to be kind of chaotic as I try to do all these different things at once. But please bear with me. Please let me know in the comments if there's something I can do better. Also, subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff because it does help. I am trying to grow somewhat of a channel here. But anyways, let's jump into our game. Let me make sure I set the speed. Okay, there we go. Okay.
Game started.
All right, so we are actually casting myself in a game. Now, I don't actually get to play all that often. I just, sometimes have a lot going on and don't get around to playing until it's too late in the day, and then there's not a lot of people on, so it gets a little rough. But here I am playing as our 42 OS Armada blue guy at the bottom right-hand position here. And my opponent, Chickentasty, spawned at the top right position as our Cortex player. This is Suralata. I personally like this map quite a bit, primarily because there's a lot of big mexes. Wind is high, so it's just like it turns the game into this like really quick, fast-paced kind of game pretty quickly here. So the build-up time is a little bit less. You don't have to spend as much on wind turbines and all that because of the winds. We are opening bots. This is primarily a bot map. You can do vehicle, but with that high energy, bots are typically what you go for here. So it's certainly going to come into play. And then there is some high ground and whatnot that make it hard for vehicles to get around too. So another reason to go bots. Not that you have to. You can certainly do vehicle on this map as well. But anyways, taking a look at how I'm opening here, I am opening with a very fast con turret, and this is going to allow me to, get those units cranking out pretty quickly here, move a couple cons out to expand down at the bottom, and then send my commander out towards the front to secure this location. And this map is rotationally symmetric. One of the things I like to do if I played this position is just to, protect this line here and then move towards the center and start grabbing this stuff, because the center position, in my opinion, is a very strong, important position to have. Meanwhile, Chickentasty still cranking out units with his commander. Has a bit of metal, so he potentially could have put down a nano, but with that in mind, he is just cranking out a lot of units because he didn't spend that time and that build power on the construction turret. So, and given that we're close proximity, this is a pretty reasonable thing to do. It's just for me as the player, as the defender, or I need to be, I guess, the defender because I'm, because I built that nano early, that con turret. Right now, like I just need to expand rapidly. I actually added on a second con turret here, which is probably a mistake because I, certainly can spend it, but that also means I don't need to worry about, adding that on a little bit later. So I guess there's something going on for me with that. But yeah, I'm moving my commander out, and I'm trying to secure this location. Actually, I'm moving forward to try to grab this mex as well. So I've got some pawns out here to do some attacking. So I got a little bit more army, my army value's catching up, but at the same time, all my units are moving forward, and I'm paying attention to the battle on the front. So these kind of just, I don't see them in time. I mean, they were on radar. I should have seen them, and I just didn't. So unfortunately, my two cons here going to be taken out. This position is going to be taken out, and that's pretty rough because I had a nice lead there that I kind of just threw away by not having enough defenders. Meanwhile, I am planning some pressure, but this is pretty well defended. He's got a lot of grunts back here now, and I still need to work up enough pawns to deal with these grunts and then still find where the grunts are. So I'm trying to maneuver them around and run into them so I can take them out. Looks like I do just that. So pretty lucky find. He does pay attention though, so he's moving them back. So now I gotta chase him down, and that becomes such a annoying thing to deal with. And then even still having these couple of grunts out here able to threaten this location. So I'm not forced to kind of split up. Meanwhile, there's a lot of grunts here at the front of my base, so he's actually able to threaten this as well. So me just kind of scrambling because of that attack I did. I should have been a little bit more defensive, had a little bit more pawns in the back of my base to defend against those grunts with the LLTs. So meanwhile, I do have my commander out here in the center of the map, just trying to secure this, put LTs here so that I can secure this 5.0 mex and these 2.2s on the side. Meanwhile, it looks like Chickentasty already has a couple of cons out here on the left-hand side, able to take those expansions. I do have a tick roaming around, so I kind of know that that's going on. So, you know, that's something where I want to get units out there eventually, but at the same time, you know, these grunts are still kind of getting towards the back of my base. This is not secure anymore, so he's just able to just kind of get units back there, and I need to be really careful, you know, about how I do this. So, luckily for me, I take a really nice trade there and shoo them away, and I just need to be able to rebuild this rather quickly. I am sending some units out to this top left-hand side to threaten this as well, so I'm just trying to take out these cons because, you know, if I take those out, that means he has to build a couple more cons and move them all the way the heck out here once again. So it's kind of a big deal for me to be able to take this out. And yeah, just like right before the LT gets done even, and yeah, just clean it up pretty easily. So that's a nice thing I got going for myself, just having the middle and that. So as long as I can secure this, I should be in a pretty good spot here. So I'm primarily just having units, you know, out there to defend for the moment, and now finally getting a con out there to expand. A little bit slow on my part. You know, it should have been a little bit faster, but I wanted to make sure I had enough units to be able to keep it once I start taking it once again. And now having this resbot out to, you know, pick up some of these units, maybe pick up some of the mexes as well. Meanwhile, you know, my center base here with all my LTs is being threatened by these rocket bots, and you know, this is of course like the move that you want to make as Chickentasty, to take out the LTs basically for free using that range of the rocket bots. And you know, there's not much that my commander can do about it. I can walk up and try to degun, but at the same time he can just move back, you know, and cut my commander. So I got to be really careful here and make sure that my commander's not taking too much damage. And then, yeah, as I pick this up, I'm trying to also kind of open this path forward so that I can threaten his base with the pawns that I got going out. Meanwhile, I've already re-expanded down here. So primarily, I'm worried about this at the moment. So this might seem, you know, this might seem like a pretty rough situation for me. I'm just losing all these LTs for free. And, you know, this 5.0 max, this 2.2 max is being threatened. And that's certainly a big deal. But you'll see here in a moment, yeah, I'm already kind of doing it where I'm kind of exploiting the idea that these rocket bots, although useful in the center, are just too slow to be able to do anything defensively. So, you know, me running forward with all these pawns and all the units that I've picked up means he just doesn't have enough here to defend because he's built those rocket bots. You know, so I'm able to do some damage here, you know, and hopefully I'm, you know, of course trying to take really good engagements, but, you know, they're grunts, so they're primarily going to be able to, you know, stay at a longer distance and kite, so it's not really too much micro I can do as the pawn player. I'm just now adding on a vehicle plant as well, so I'm going to be producing some vehicles and bots. Meanwhile, Chickentasty already on the vehicles himself, producing some pounders, and these pounders do wonders against pawns. So as the pawn player, my primary focus is to stay away from things like the pounders, or to engage them when they're alone where other things aren't damaging you, and that way I can take them out a little bit more effectively than you know, letting other things you know, DPS my pawns down as the pounders do massive amounts of AoE damage. I do have a couple of, or actually three cons out here to expand, but the difference here, I guess, for me and compared to Tasty's expansion is I have a beamer. And I think this is really important because this is such a far away location from your base that it kind of sucks to have to move some more cons out here to retake it. So as you know, I don't mind spending a little bit more in order to secure that. So that's exactly what I'm doing with that beamer, or a couple of beamers that I'm making. Meanwhile, I'm threatening this position here once again with these blitzes and pawns, and you know, once again taking out all these cons, taking out this position. I have a lot of units flooding in here, and once again, he's got these pounders. He's got, you know, he had those rocket bots, but they're so slow. So, you know, if he sends his his rockets and pounders towards the center to help with that, then that kind of opens up this position for me to attack. So I'm really just exploiting the fact that these are slower units that can't be everywhere to defend. I see a pounder kind of alone. I decided to try to run around it into the base, seeing somewhat of an opening here, knowing that the pounder can't just quickly, you know, match the pawns and you know, take them out. So I'm just doing that. Meanwhile, knowing that the pounders are over there now, I know that the center of the map is a little bit more open. So now I'm sending units out this way, and you know, it's really just like, okay, if you're going to do pounders or something that's so slow, I can use that and attack different locations and just attack wherever the pounders aren't. So, you know, me just running through the center here, taking out all those mexes and running them through so that I'm able to threaten this back pocket here. So just being able to threaten that before this becomes an issue, I think is this pretty smart move here. I do have my commander out here as well still, so you know, just sending up some LTs, and that'll certainly help out with the pounders since they have shorter range as well. So now that doesn't mean that the pounders can't threaten this. Obviously they can, because they're just, you know, they do so much damage. But yeah, just cutting back. Yeah, Chickentasty doing a great job, you know, just making sure that his pounders are kind of falling back so that the pawns can't just jump on them. I'm still trying to send units out to the back a little bit, but I see, you know, this is kind of a problem, so I'm making sure I have enough to defend it with my commander here, knowing that that's the lose condition. I'm also taking note that his commander's out here as well, so that's the win condition. So just looking at, like, okay, how many units does he have there? How many units do I have there? You know, is there a play where I can take down his commander? Is there a play that he can take down mine? Do I have enough units to deal with that? And so with that, you know, I do have those units in the back still threatening that location. I do have this wall here now, and these LLTs to defend this frontal position. So there's not much he can really do here. He can maybe threaten it if he builds up enough units, you know, but at the same time, it's sort of like, well, if you got all your units here, you don't have as many out here in the center. So, you know, I'm kind of looking at that and saying, like, okay, if I get some Janus, get some medium tanks, you know, those Janus can certainly pop that commander rather quickly, so I can maybe surprise him with that. I come in here with my Janus. Do I just have one? It looks like I only have one, but yeah, it looks like his commander is going to get popped here. So, so yeah, I mean, it's maybe not the most exciting replay, but at the same time, I wanted to, you know, just highlight when you build slower units and you send them out towards like the center, well, this is going to be less defended because you just, you know, they're too slow to get there. Or if you send your slow units here, well, now your middle is less protected. So, you know, just exploiting the fact that those are slower units and how you can play around slower units with faster units. And really just picking apart your opponent and just being able to get, you know, despite them having this middle area, you know, and having the slow units on, say, like the top right, you know, now I can run through here and pressure the back. And that was my goal for, you know, those raids. And I'm just kind of picking them apart by having stuff being everywhere and making it hard for him to be everywhere because he's slow. And then just like going in for the kill once I see that potential is there. Anyways, I hope that was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Again, you know, leave a like, subscribe, do all the fun things. I would really appreciate it if you know, if you did enjoy this cast. So anyways, this is Zeteo signing out. Thanks for watching.